Today we celebrate the Immaculate Conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Now, this feast is, a lot of times people misunderstand. We're not talking about the conception of Jesus in the womb of the Blessed Mary. It happened on March 25th, which, if you do a little math, just so happens to be 9 months before Christmas when we celebrate the birth of Christ. Right? What we're celebrating today is the conception of Mary without sin. She was conceived immaculately, without original sin. And we heard it in the opening collect today, opening prayer, that the Lord foresaw the path of death on the cross that would free us from original sin. And so he redeemed Mary outside of time. He applied the sacrifice, fruits of Christ's passion, death, and resurrection to Mary outside of time, so that she was conceived without sin, that he could make a home for his son in the womb of our Blessed Mother. And actually, of course, he planned this for all of time, right? We heard in today's first reading that Adam and Eve had committed original sin, and that Eve would strike at the heel, right? I will put enmity, when he punishes the serpent, he says, I will put enmity between you and the woman. He doesn't say you and the man. He's talking to the serpent, you and the woman, between your offspring and hers. He will strike at your head, while you strike at his heel. The man called his wife Eve because she became the mother of the living. Right? So Mary is the new Eve, right? One of the titles of Mary is the new Eve, because she comes as the mother of all the living, right? She is opposed to Satan, to the evil one, to all of his lies. And there's one of his lies that I think she, in our age, is very much wanting to address, right? It has to do with the dignity of women, the relationship between man and woman. There's a great disorder in our world of the relations between man and woman. And I don't know exactly the origins of this. You can trace it back concretely to the Enlightenment and the way that thinking shifted in the Enlightenment. It really is the root. All of our modern problems in one way or another can be traced back to the Enlightenment. So I'm not some sort of genius here coming up with some great theory. There's plenty of authors that have written about this. But you can see the effects of really what is most concretely is referred to as feminism, right? The great argument from feminism is that women have been disadvantaged and their dignity has been suppressed or lowered. And so men have done this to women, and that women need to reclaim their dignity or their worth, right? And the way that feminists propose to do this is that women should be equal to men and should be able to do all the things that men do, right? And this is just, it's led to a lot of problems. And we see it actually culminate in this transgender stuff and the homosexual, all these problems with people's sexual identity. The root of it is really in this disorder between our understanding between men and women. So let's just think for a second. I'm not going to be here till at least tomorrow morning if I were to try to address all of this in one homily. I won't do that. Right? But I think our Blessed Mother gives us a great example of what it means to really, one, what it really means to have human dignity, and two, the value and dignity that is inherent to women, and that we are really lacking in society, or at least society doesn't value. So our human dignity, where does our human dignity come from? Because of the Enlightenment, because of all the effects of all the thoughts, sort of disordered thoughts that have been passed down to us, we are materialists, or at least our culture is materialistic. And so we see value in what we accomplish. But that's not where our value comes from. Our dignity does not come from what you can do. It comes from the identity that has been given to you by God, sharing in His image and likeness. The goodness that is in you is there because you reflect something of God. Right? You share in His image and likeness. You reflect God. And because you share in that dignity and that you're meant for communion with God, every single person has the same dignity. Right? Man or woman has the same dignity because of what they are, what we are. Our dignity comes from being in the image and likeness of God. That's where our dignity comes from. It doesn't come from what we can do. St. Thomas Aquinas points this out very clearly. Agere sequitur esse, right? For those of you who don't speak Latin, doing comes from being, right? He says it very clearly. Doing comes from being. Who we are determines what we do, right? You can observe this, right? You see the dog. Dog does dog things. Why? Because he's a dog, right? He decides one day he's going to do dog things, therefore he is a dog. It's the other way around. He's a dog, so he does dog things. He can't do human things because he's not a human. He's a dog. Right? And so our identity as human beings, what we do, comes from what we are. We are sons and daughters of the eternal Father, made in His image and likeness, and redeemed by the blood of Christ. That's who we are. And so our dignity comes, even those who aren't baptized have a dignity because they reflect God. That's where our dignity comes from. If we break that down a little further, the dignity of men and women and the role of men and women are different because men and women are different. Newsflash. You can't turn on the TV and see this. In fact, you're going to be told the opposite. Men and women are different. It doesn't take rocket scientists observe that men are different. What we do as men and women comes from who we are. Right? That's why men and women are different. That's why men act differently than women, women act differently than men. It's just how it is. That's how the Lord made it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right? And in fact, when we look at the value of man and woman, we see that they're complementary. We need men and women. And this is what society has gotten wrong. We see it really, all of this, at least in recent history, has started with the disorder that comes from marriage. Right? Once divorce enters into the picture and we separate the marital act from marriage itself, we start making marriage into a functional thing instead of a relational thing. It's no longer is a relationship, it's a function. That's how society treats marriage. It's just a material function. Right? You might as well I tell couples this. The way the state thinks of marriage, it's like you have a business partner. It's got some tax benefits, and when that partnership breaks up, the state says, well, just like we break up a corporation, we're going to break up this partnership. Right? That's not what marriage is. Marriage is one man and one woman for life, with openness to life, with a great love and affection. The husband and wife is such a beautiful and stabilizing thing. It's necessary, it's good. It mitigates a lot of the suffering that we have to endure in life. The Lord designed it that way. It's an antidote to original sin. Marriage, the sacrament of holy matrimony, is one of the ways that the Lord sanctifies the world. But because we've separated that all out and we've started destroying it, it's just led to more and more problems. Right? I'm not going to go into all of this, but just so you know, the public schools largely are pushing, and that's not everywhere, but many places, especially Madison School District is particularly, I've seen the paperwork, they're pushing this transgender stuff on kids. It's not just like an option. They're pushing it. They're encouraging it. They're indoctrinating kids. I just saw a presentation 2 weeks ago. I saw all the documentation. It's all on the school district website. They're pushing this stuff. Right? Because they've got men and women wrong. Right? And it's leading to so much suffering. That's the real problem. It's leading to so much suffering. We see in Mary the antidote to understanding the dignity that women bring to the world, right? And that we need, right? What children need the most, what the world needs the most, is a husband and a wife, a man and a woman who are committed to each other in love. And we see our Blessed Mother who enters into this relationship with Joseph. She remains a virgin, yes, but she enters into a relationship with Joseph. She is ready to receive, and this is where the dignity of women is so beautiful and so underappreciated. Right? Her receptivity to what the Lord wishes to bring her is what makes her great. It's nothing that she does, right? In the sense of she accomplishes. It's her openness to what the Lord wants to bring into her life. That she's looking to the Lord and she's receptive to whatever He wants to bring into her life. That's the great, to kind of sum it up, that's one of the greatest reasons for that women have such dignity is they've been given this gift of receptivity to the Lord, to other people. I think why are mothers, what are the virtues of mothers? It's that they're receptive to their children. Right? Wives, they're receptive to their husband. They're concerned with the good of their husband. They're concerned with the good of others. And they're able to give themselves in that way. And it builds up. Right? Mary is the queen of heaven and earth. Right? Why? Because she was receptive to what the Lord wanted. Not because she went off and did some great thing, built some great corporation, right? Told Jesus all the things He had to do. No, none of that. It's because she was receptive to the Lord. And she reveals to us the great dignity of women. She's concerned. We see it in the wedding at Cana, right? She's concerned with the couple, right? She loves them, even though she probably doesn't even know them that well. Right? She's receptive to their needs. And so she goes to her son and says, they have no wine. Right? What a great need the world has for real femininity, right? The world needs holy and good women. The world needs women like our Blessed Mother, and the world needs the witness of the Blessed Mother, right? Because we need good and holy women. We don't need women who are trying to run the world, right? Mary runs the world more than any other woman ever could, right? In a spiritual sense, anyway. But she does it with her receptivity, her openness to the Lord, her desire to give herself to the Lord. Right? And that's the real dignity of women, and it's been totally lost. Right? What the whole focus of human activity right now is on where do women fit and what are their jobs, what are their duties, what can they do? And it's not about that. It's about who they are and allowing if women would receive, just generally speaking, if women would receive from the Lord that dignity, they would be, one, much happier, and two, the world would be a much better place because we would have that complementarity. Women wouldn't try to be the men, and the men wouldn't think that they can't be men, and these crazy things going on in the world. Right? Women, we need you to imitate the Blessed Mother in that great dignity of receptivity, openness to the Lord, openness to the things that He has for you, the ways He's calling you to give your life, to be a good witness, to be holy, to be witnesses of eternal life, of the gospel, of commitment to nurturing and protecting life in any way, shape, and form that the Lord gives to you. The Lord wants women to be as He made, to have the dignity that He entrusted strictly to women. Don't try to become men. It doesn't work. You're not going to be happy. Right? The world needs holy women, just like our Blessed Mother. That's why we go to her, we run to her, we trust in her. Husbands, men, encourage your wives. Be bold in that receptivity to what the Lord wants for them, wants to give them. Right? Support them in it. Affirm the goodness that's in them. Right? Because you have a responsibility, just as Joseph did, protect and guard that dignity that is particularly theirs. So please, protect and guard that dignity that only the Lord has entrusted to women. And men, be real men. Right? need strong men in this world to protect and to defend and to promote the good things that the Lord has entrusted to you as well. So, Blessed Mother, we in a particular way entrust ourselves to you. We ask you to intercede for all of us, men and women alike, to help sort out the disorder that is in our world, especially the division that has been created between men and women, that you would heal it by your prayers and intercession, and that through your great example, women would know their great dignity, not in their doing, but in their being, in the very way the Lord has made them and called them.